Joining us now is Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, there's a lot there to drill down on.
Yes, there is.
We've seen a lot of comments, the bear hug in the opening days, gradually some more criticism, the visits with the War Cabinet. We knew there were public and private postures by the president. Then some criticism from Antony Blinken and certainly from Lloyd Austin last week. But this is the President of the United States opening what had been a healed wound, I should say, with Netanyahu because of their past conflicts before the war in past years.
Well, the president is responding to the nature of the warfare in Gaza, which instead of being a targeted assault on Hamas, has really been a bombing campaign against the entire Palestinian population of Gaza. The world has been very uncomfortable with the massive number of civilian casualties. Estimates differ, but somewhere around the 20,000 figure, with two-thirds being women and children. And also just the fact that people are being crowded into a very small area in southern Gaza after being sent there to be in a so-called safe zone, but the fatalities continue with the same strategy being executed in the south. So the president recognizes that Israel is burning through a reserve of international support, and that if we're really going to break this cycle of violence, we have to work towards two states for two people, and he's setting the foundation for pushing forward on that vision.
You were one of the first senators to call for a ceasefire. Do you feel that there might be more of your colleagues joining you?
You know, I think at this point, people have settled into the kind of the pattern that they've established, whether they've called for a humanitarian pause, whether they've called for cessation of hostilities. But many of the folks using those various words are all making the same point, that this strategy of bombing, and it's really, I think, the first time the president has called it indiscriminate bombing, is unacceptable in terms of its casualties on civilians, and that it's not only horrific in its own right in terms of the damage it's done, but it really damages Israel going forward. And by that I mean undermining the relationship with nations that signed up for the Abraham Accords, undermining the dialogue with Saudi Arabia, and proceeding to affect international support and aid to Israel, including aid from the United States. So the discussions are different now than they were a year ago.
Now, let me ask you about the outcome of COP28, because the annual climate conference finally ended. It was extended for a couple of days to try to reach a better agreement on reductions in emissions. In the past, you've accused Team Biden of failing to address climate change. And with this landmark deal to transition away from fossil fuels, but critics say their pledge still does not do enough to reduce global warming to within the 1.5 degrees Celsius target in time by 2030. Should they have gone further?
Absolutely. The language that was put out was transitioning away from fossil fuel energy systems, a phase down of unabated coal power. Those are just kind of generic statements that anyone who's paying attention would say need to happen. It's the fact that there was no pledge of any kind to stop building new fossil fuel infrastructure. And here in America, I have been critical of the Biden administration for greenlighting one fossil project after another. We now produce more gas than any other nation. We export more fossil gas than any other nation. We produce more oil than any other nation. Those have all gone up significantly during the last 3 years. And yet we're saying to the world, join us, let's join together and tackle the challenge of climate, and yet we're producing more and more fossil fuels. It's been really driven a sense among our younger Americans of cynicism and frustration that the U.S., which needs to be leading by the power of its example, is leading with an example that will take us to climate oblivion.
And China is building more coal plants. That's a big factor here. So, at this stage, with only a few years to go, really, until 2030, is it even possible to reach this goal after the hottest year the climate has ever had?
In terms of 1.5 degrees, it is not possible. and unless you assume something extraordinary. In other words, if you burn fossil fuels at the rate we are right now, we will use up the carbon budget in 6 years, which means 6 years from now we'd have to go to zero carbon. And so that's not at all where we're headed. We're actually increasing the amount of fossils that we burn each year. We're increasing the amount of carbon we're putting in the atmosphere. So after 20 years of pretty intense international conversations about taking on this challenge, we are still going the wrong direction. So that is deeply, deeply disturbing. And each nation wants to say, hey, we'll just kind of, on the demand side, better insulate our buildings, put some electric cars out there and some charging stations, but we want to keep taking all of our fossils out of the ground because that's money for us. That's our home companies. Every country says the same thing. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. And the result is that everybody's producing more fossils, burning more fossils, and we're in deep trouble.